Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we are talking with Meryem Saci. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. It's good, definitely fun to get to learn a little bit more about you. So,
Yeah.
for those who are new to you and your music, can you give a little intro about yourself?
Yes. So I'm Meryem Saci, singer, songwriter, and MC, based in Montreal, originally from Algeria. I sing and I rap in mostly English, but I do Arabic and French as well. And I like to fusion styles of music from my home country into more urban styles, hip hop, R&B, soul mixtures. That's what I
Hmm.
do.
How did you get into music?
Got into music very early. It was, I think, more of a calling than something I got into. I loved the idea of singing. I used to sing myself to sleep as a little girl and enamored with big stars on TV. And it was very, very early on that it was evident that I loved doing this. Um, and as I grew a bit older, the older I was getting, the more I wanted to learn about music. And growing up in Algeria, it was a bit difficult, um but it was a bit of my it was my escape for the longest time, to just be
Hmm.
able to sing and pretend that I had a show in front of my mother's mirror, things like that, right? So it was part of me, and it was not just a small phase of, like, when you're a kid and you're like, oh, when I grow up I want to be an astronaut. And
Hmm.
no, it was very clear to me from jump. And eventually more and more started taking it more seriously. And when I got to Montreal, I connected with different people that allowed me to pursue it more professionally eventually. So I did do gospel choirs, musicals in high school, anything musical related, I was there. And then I joined different rap crews as the main singer. And one thing led to another. I joined my band called Nomadic Massive, who I rolled with for years. We toured a lot, made a few albums, and now it's been about a year that I'm out of the band and 100% solo.
Okay. Do you remember like the first song or first album that you heard when you were younger that was like, oh damn, this is the one?
Yeah, so in my most fresh memory, I was crazy about Mariah Carey,
Okay.
and there was this live show that played on one of the French channels we could hack in Algeria, because we didn't have access to those channels, but we had great hackers.
Hmm.
So I remember in one of those music TV shows, they ran her whole show. Like,
Okay.
it was this epic. I think it was Vision of Love, the album, her first album.
Hmm.
And that captivated me in ways that I don't think anything had at that time. I retaped it and I would watch it and rewatch it and cry and just be in awe of somebody being able to have that much impact through a screen on me, and then seeing the fans on site losing it. Like,
Hmm.
how is this even possible? But yeah, it was one of those, I guess, sound and vision put together. It just gave me that snapshot of what I really wanted to be doing in my life eventually, or as like a dream that started forming more concretely in my head. Then and eventually you get access to tapes and things like that. So I used to have the classic divas in my rotation: Whitney,
Hmm.
Mariah, Celine Dion, and a few pop artists back then, like Spice Girls and things like that. But essentially I was very much into the soul, R&B, more gospely sounds
Hmm.
earlier on. And so that's what I kept on like seeking. And then eventually, I think watching enough of those artists rolled through, started mimicking and imitating and singing along, even though I didn't speak English. But it was that's how I started.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can feel some of that influence in your music. Like I listened to kind of a mix of your tracks before we started, so I can get more of an
Yes.
idea of your stuff. So I can see where that comes from for sure.
Word. Yeah, the
Hmm.
influences are there.
Hmm. So the main reason we're here to talk today is about your new EP, Danger
Sorry.
Zone, which is out
Yep.
now, or it's coming out.
It is already out. It's been out since the end of March.
Okay.
And yeah, that's been the project that I think I released about two official videos for, and about three singles.
How did that come together? Like how was putting that whole EP together?
Um, it was an interesting process because it went by very fast once we got on it. Um, about 2 years, like during like the first year of pandemic, like 2020, I had worked so hard on so many things that were supposed to pan out in 2020. I was selected for South by Southwest. I had like a new project to drop that was mostly a mixture of soul R&B and Afro Oriental sounds type of thing. So I went more in that direction for that EP, and everything was lined up for 2020, and it all fell apart, as we know. So
Mm-hmm.
it got me rethinking a lot of things, and I started just writing more raps here and there, but like in secret, not trying to be out with it. Connected with a few producers, did a few tracks here and there, but they never panned out. They never got released. Nothing happened. I stopped working or didn't get to work with those producers. So I left it in a shelf, thinking one day I might rap a little bit more because it's on my heart, like it's on my mind and it's on my heart. And but I left it there, and then I met Nas Brock J Nas, who is the music producer for the EP.
Mm-hmm.
They had invited me for their podcast, and he sent me a few beats because he wanted me to perform one of my tracks and to freestyle on one of his beats. And I really liked his beats, and he was telling me, if you like any of them, let me know. And one of them kind of connected a lot with one of the songs I wrote that never got released. And I figured, hey, maybe I could give it a new life. And then we went ahead, did that single together. And from there on, he made me hear a bunch of other beats, and he was telling me and encouraging me to consider making a more of a hip hop project. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how it came together. And it's almost like it was the permission I needed to go for it. And I think his music, his sound really, really matched with what I liked as well, even though it was completely different. I never did anything on drill beats before. I didn't do a lot of trap. I did here and there, but it just spoke to me, and it came super fast. So there was about 2 tracks I had written in the past that were able to work on his beats, and then the others just created them together. I wrote to them as we went along for the project, and we had about 2 months to get it together, and eventually finish recording and shoot at least a video before I left the country for 6 months. So it kind of went by fast. But I think it was mainly matched with the fact that it's been simmering for a while for me. And
Yeah.
now I was ready to do something different. The reevaluation I went through during pandemic also allowed me to widen my horizons and give more grace to my path and allow it to expand more, even though it's been challenging for me to get a box of, okay, what is your sound? Put it in one box.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so kind of, I think, resisting adding another sound to my mix. But then I was like, no, that's who I am. I'm an artist, and I don't follow trends, and I can't fit in boxes, and that's okay. I might fit in multiple ones, but I'll find my own eventually.
I think that's kind of the way music should be right now, or at least that's the way it's going. Everyone's kind of starting to genre
Yeah,
bend a little bit and add a little
yeah,
bit of everything.
true. So
How do
maybe
you
it's a good
think,
time.
yeah, how do you think your music has evolved from, let's say, back in like 2017 with Concrete Jungle to something like that, like you have now with Danger Zone?
Right. It's so interesting. I guess it was the first seeds planted with Concrete Jungle, where it was mostly no, it was like one of my first tracks where I was like rapping on most of the track, and probably the only one on that project that I had released in 2017, which was my first mixtape album called On My Way. And I believe Concrete Jungle was the only track, if not one of the only tracks, that I rapped on. And um and it kind of gave me also that flavor of jungle style beats
Mm-hmm.
and rhythms. So I would say it was kind of the seed, that like the original opening to me doing this style of music. So um I don't think Concrete Jungle reflects the full project, that first full project, but it reflects very much who I am as an artist in terms
Mm-hmm.
of the combinations of sounds that I had in there, the singing, the rapping, the themes, etc., etc. And it was a good precedent to the Game of Life project. I think it's a good reference if you want to hear throughout my music. Concrete Jungle, that very one song, is a good precedent and good reference to what came eventually with Game of Life. However, it evolved in ways where I think I have a better capacity to write in English now, and so I'm able to have better, in my opinion, better lyrics in general, like a better writing approach. I'm getting closer to what I truly want to express and having more ease with it. I'm thinking more in English, so it's easier for me to flow as well and to write in a deeper fashion as opposed to just struggling with just the language.
Mm-hmm.
And because speaking it is one thing, but truly expressing yourself artistically in a language sometimes could, like you're missing words, you're missing expressions, you're not able to paint the picture properly because you're lacking certain references or words and all of that vocabulary business that was
Mm-hmm.
challenging in the past for me. But now it's much better. So I think I felt more freedom. I felt more freedom. I felt more confidence also to own up to the songs that had more raps in them, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm just a singer who raps, and being confused about my artistic identity. I felt like now I know a little bit more who I am and where I'm going, and I feel like you can hear it more.
Mm-hmm. Like that one stood out to me when I was listening. I was going through that album and everything, and then I grabbed onto that one. I said, okay, this one's different. This one has a little bit something extra to it. So that's why I referenced that one.
That's interesting.
The evolution itself, you can see more confidence is definitely the good way to put it for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was really awesome that you point that one out. It was like a perfect correlation, and I didn't even think about it like that before. So as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And but Danger Zone, the song itself, um, for me, it was also different because it's like a trap beat, and it's very melodious, and I really wanted to sing. I didn't know what I wanted to do on it. There was like a lot going on, and that was also is a song where I was able to just tap into how it made me feel, as opposed to trying to fit what drill is supposed to sound like or what R&B is supposed to sound like on those types of beats, and figuring out how to make it fit within what is normalized. So I felt more free to just do whatever I felt like doing on those beats, and I can hear it more, and I feel more coherence within the last project as well, because it felt like more of a clearer artistic direction sonically.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
in my
no, you
previous
can.
projects was mixed.
Yeah, you can feel the growth for sure. So that's always a bonus. You should always be growing as an artist. So it makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
Now you spoke about having some hurdles with, language and that, and trying to, work in the English more. Is there any other hurdles that you kind of experienced coming into the music industry when moving into Canada and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think most artists are faced with similar challenges when we are independent, when we're on our own in many ways, right? Also, because when I came here, it was a whole new world. I had no idea what it meant to be in the music scene or what the industry was. I was just going with the flow. And whether it was like competition shows or festivals or whatever band I ended up connecting with, the musicians or collaborations, everything really came along. It wasn't something I tried to get to or doors I knocked on to get to somewhere in my career and things like that. And I think that's something that was a challenge for me, because for a long time, I I think I processed the idea that music cannot be my bread. We all know the concept of being a struggling artist. So financially, it's always difficult to just live off your music. So I had to like have another source of revenue, so that for me, music can stay more pure. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even like, I had the opportunity to go study music, but I just didn't want to have academia mixed with it. And then at one point, I figured, instead of just hustling to try to make money out of this, where I would compromise my values and maybe more just to get somewhere in this industry, I secured my revenue in different ways so that I could live through my artistic expression and whatever I'm doing artistically without those constraints, and without trying to get somewhere per se or fit somewhere. So it gave me that freedom for a while to not connect with music as a transactional thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it played against me, because I wasn't with the game early enough in that sense, right? Um, so the challenges faced would have been for me to not having put myself out there enough. So I wouldn't be able to maybe connect with the right producers or the right folks, the right bookers, and all of that good stuff, right? So having a place in the industry kind of means getting booked, getting
Yeah.
played, getting your numbers up, all of that good stuff. So I've never been having any interest to being signed or become a product for a long time. And I think I was more on a quest of how can I be a better channel for these creations and create something magical that people can be moved by. That was more my goal, you know. But as you go along and you realize, hey, I can't be scattered. I can't be working this. I was a real estate broker,
Okay.
and a youth worker as well. So I can't be doing all of these jobs, like killing so many hours of my day and thinking I'm gonna get better at my craft or more advanced in the career that I wish could just be sufficient, where I don't have to do anything else and just focus on this, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it was a dream, and it, in my mind, it was a luxury to just make music, you know?
Yeah.
And so my challenges was to feel like there wasn't much opportunity or support in order for me to pave a path that was sensible as a long, like for longevity and to survive from it and to thrive from it, you know. I think I didn't have the savoir-faire business wise, and I didn't have all the cues for the networking and industry stuff. And straight up, I have to force it out of me. But doing real estate kind of like showed me that it's just not in my character. Like I hate all the networking, 5 to 7, ting ting. Like, hey, this is
Mm-hmm.
what I do. Here's my card. So and you're just all talking about what you do and just being interested in figuring out how that could fit in your next move. And I appreciate it and I get it. And I salute the people that are good at it. I just really I'm not, you know. So and I know I could be. I just can't. Like it's I have to force myself so much. And when it came to music, it was hard for me to do that. And so I didn't get in the game early enough, studied it enough to like move strategically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I take responsibility in the terms of like, I'm not just going to be like, it's very difficult because in Quebec it's Francophone. So if you're not a French artist, it doesn't really work. It's the truth. We're very much challenged. We have a ceiling
Oh yeah.
that is so low, you know? And if you are multilingual or you're doing like you're put in the world music bracket, which doesn't allow you for much more expansion. So I think in that sense, the challenges when it comes to the industry was being oftentimes the single female in the room, whether it was with producers, MCs, collaborators, or the bands that I was in. So I was often the one female, or there would be like one other. So we had like this feeling of minority going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to like work my way through all of that and learn like the codes in many ways of how I want to navigate this reality. And I didn't feel like I had enough guidance ever. Had to figure it out. And I felt blessed to fall on amazing people, amazing collaborators, and things like that. So the other challenges really came when we tried to get out there, when we really want to make money, make it work, get the bookings, get the tours, get all the admin side on lock, all the marketing side on lock. And it's very expensive if you're an independent artist. You understand why you get signed is because all of these elements are expensive to carry and to continue to maintain and push. In the meantime, the scene, the industry is changing.
Oh yeah.
Technology is switching the game up. So I come up in a certain realm where I'm a live artist, like I'm somebody that is thrives on stage. Now here we are mostly on camera and digital members, and I'm not really connecting with the people. So that was a challenge for me personally. And then when it comes to learning, oh, this is what worked about 2 years ago. Now it don't work anymore. Uh,
Yeah,
and now we
things
have
change
that
quick.
challenge. We still have that challenge today with algorithms, and whatever move you used to do before is no longer relevant today. So now you have to switch up and keep up with the Joneses, you know? So I think at one point as an artist, it feels very heavy to, if it really feels like you're like a little puppet, like dance, little puppet dance. Like now we're
Yep.
going this way. Now we're going this way. Now, oh, you really want to get her? Now take off this and do, you know, like it's just so much that we have to like dance through. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's about getting the right mindset to learn how to make that dance work for you. And that's where I'm at now. But it took me a long time to get to a place where not only am I taking music as my sole focused career and moneymaker and all of that stuff, it changes the game completely when you try to make it a business. So now that I'm more into that, I'm seeing all the challenges with the industry, whether it's in Quebec, whether it's Canada, the financing issues. We're blessed to be able to have access to a grant system, but we can't depend on that only. The monopoly between labels and who knows who,
Mm-hmm.
um, the game, you
Oh yeah.
know? The
I
game.
experienced some of that on my end too. Like I'm based in Ottawa, so I get
Oh,
the francophone thing a bit too. And
okay.
I we book shows sometimes with a partner company of mine here too, so I can see the back end of how some of that stuff works.
Yeah, and
It's
everybody's
definitely
out to
something.
get you and to get a piece of you in some ways.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this interesting loophole where you have to like get big, get relevant, get the numbers, get the clout for people to pay attention to you. And then when they pay attention to you, you have to compose in a different way after that. It's very interesting. Same thing with labels now. There are still developing artists and others that need you to already be at a certain level for them to pay attention and partner up with you.
Hmm.
So, and I think that's okay. That's the game now. And for me, as in my path so far, I'm very much in tune with the idea of being an independent artist and partnering up and getting sponsorships and grants and collaborations, as opposed to being fully uh, taken by a label.
Yeah,
Just
you don't.
because of how things are going now, I'm just not. I think I never been interested in it before, but at one point it does get tiring to do everything on your own. So you want a
Hmm.
team. Um, but if I don't see the right match and the right interest in the right place, I don't want to be shelved. I don't want to be put to the side, and I don't want to get excited to have a team that is not going to be fully invested. And I don't think anybody can do the work for you as much as you can in many ways.
Or at very
Um,
least, you have to understand
you
what's
have to
going on.
understand what's
Yeah.
going on and have somebody on your corner that is almost at that level as well and has your back
Hmm.
like that, and which is very difficult to find. So it's a blessing when you have those teams, when you have those partners, and to build with that. And I think I'm all for people trying to make it on their own independently and get those right partnerships going on along the way to help them keep pushing and keep funding these projects, you know. However, for me, I think because I haven't been strategic for a very long time, I wasn't trying to make moves in that sense. A lot of things happened and came to me, and then it
Hmm.
opened my eyes up to possibilities. Like I never knew I can have songs placed on ads. You know, when I released my
Yeah.
first projects, boom, I got Dynamite and Lululemon trying to get my tracks on their next campaign, and I got Kijiji asking me to do like a whole campaign of rapping and all that stuff, because now music and hip hop became trendy and relevant for ads and things like that.
Hmm.
Or when it comes to getting placements in movies, things like that, I wasn't even aware of, you know? So when it came into my stream of consciousness, I was like, oh, there's a
Yeah.
whole world. Like we
Hmm.
can really diversify our source of income, and especially if you're creative and you can write all types of different songs. Like I didn't have the opportunity to ghostwrite for many people, but I know I could. It's just that it's about where you want to put your energy and focus on. But now I know there's all types of different ways you can make money, and it's okay if you're trying to push your sound and music and you want to rock out crowds and tour, but it's possible to make another type of bread on the side with music as well. I don't have to
Hmm.
be a real estate broker. I don't have to be out of sitting at a desk or doing something that is truly opposite from what my spirit can handle, you know? So, but
For
I did it
sure.
for so long like that. And that now I think I'm in the era of taking the industry more seriously, in that sense of thinking about, okay, now I want my music to be out there. I want people to hear it. It took me a while to believe in myself as well,
Hmm.
and now I'm definitely um I think I'm better connected also with my faith and why I'm doing this more than my fear of failure, you know. And so I'm aligning in that lane and figuring out how to find my way through this industry, whether it's, and I don't mean just Quebec, just the music industry period, and the internet verse, and hopefully attract the people that are meant to be messing with my sound, you know.
For sure. What do you do that to keep you grounded outside of music? There's, music is a huge thing. So
Yeah.
how do you keep yourself sane outside of that?
I think I have a few things. You know, life is up and down. Sometimes it goes super well. I can maintain certain routines and kill it. And other times it's super chaotic. And but one thing definitely that keeps me the most grounded is a practice of gratitude. And as much as I can, find different ways to apply meditation throughout my day. And if even if it's not like sitting down and trying to silence everything, to just really like close my eyes for 5 minutes, even if I'm in a crowd somewhere, and just find a way to recenter and reconnect with what I feel is um the source giving me life, you know? So at this point, it's almost like not to get scattered and get carried away, and especially not to get lost in my ego and doubts and fears and competition, or figuring out that you're not doing this enough, you're not doing that enough, you're never enough, you got to do more, got to do more. And just to like remember that, no, I have to be too, I have to breathe. And I'm not defined by I'm not defined by what I do, and I'm not defined by results and achievements. I'm not defined by all of that. And so to remind myself that as often as possible, and to just have that mindfulness throughout the day, at least when I start the day and when I end the day, and in the middle of the day if I can, you know. But yeah, I think I'm somebody who cares deeply and always cared deeply about having a strong spiritual practice and connection, feeding it my soul, you know. So I've always felt that need and that calling. So it's been part of my life for a long, long time. My mom is very much in that lane as well. So kind of came into a world where certain tools were provided to me, like breath work and affirmations and things like that that weren't trendy back in the day. You know, we didn't have Instagrams and people showing you how you can help yourself regulate your nervous system and things like that. But I think throughout my life, I just had that one thing that contained me a little bit more down to earth, which was just that sense of gratitude, that sense of just remembering two things, like we're so small, like we're just a dot in the universe, you know, and we're just one piece of the puzzle, and to not take it too seriously, and to just try to connect with something that feels more true, and and connect with a flow that feels more easy to us as we go along with whatever we do, and find something that fuels me and makes me want to wake up every day and push through it, you know. And that's been kind of my mindset. So I think my mindset is what I work on the most. And every time I go through periods where I lose it, and I lose that sense of groundedness, I find myself trying to work back onto leveling up my mindset. I think that's been every time the only thing I felt like I could control.
Yeah,
And
that sense.
things went left so often in my life. Things didn't go as I planned or hoped for so many times, so many like disappointments and that like being let down and all of that good stuff, that at one point I could fall into a pity party. Why me? And am I even gonna, you know, why is it always difficult? You know, it's super easy to go into that. It's super easy. So I think the challenge is to feed yourself different ways of seeing things and different perspectives, and align with a perspective that hurts you less inside, you know, and try to make it work with what you're moving, how you're moving. And if it helps you move forward, then I stick to it and try to keep it in my day-to-day as a practice or as a way of seeing things. And as soon as I fall off, I think usually that's my signal that, hey, you're falling off. You might need to recenter, you might need to reconnect and understand why you're doing this, you know. Don't get too caught up.
For sure. One of the last questions I always ask everyone, I think is probably the most important, is what do you hope people take away from your music?
I hope they take away a feeling of being seen, heard, and not alone. I pray that it moves their hearts and their spirits and their hips and butts. And I do hope that my music, at least in terms of not just the message, but it leaves you with this very electrifying and comforting feeling.
I think that's a pretty good way to put it. So last question I'll ask you then is, why music? Why do you keep on doing this?
So you be asking great questions, man. I like your questions. Man, it got me a bit emotional that you asked that. I keep doing this because I think it's part of me. It's something that I am. It's not something that I try to do, and that it doesn't feel right not to do it. Man, I'm emotional because it's so crazy where I am now in life and music, you know. so many things changed for me, and I feel so blessed to still do it. I feel so blessed that I still have this opportunity to sing, to share my feelings, my emotions, my perspectives with the world, to be able to write, to be able to use my voice, have people connect with it. It's like truly my highest calling and my highest blessing. And I feel just blessed to be able to keep doing it, because it has been so challenging, you know? It's been so challenging to continue
Yeah,
pushing through
you've gone
this.
through a big journey for sure.
Yeah. And so I think I just feel like it's going to be part of me, and it's all about continuing to grow with it. And I haven't even arrived yet. My best work hasn't been done yet. And it just means so much to me to be able to live this dream, because I come from so far. And it's man, I'm so mad, I'm emotional right now.
I mean, that's
um
okay. It's a powerful thing for sure.
yeah, I think it's because it's been the year that I really had to sit with that question, you know, like, why are you still doing this? Why are you doing it for? And where are we going? You know, where are we going with this? And what does it mean to continue committing into this? And what do I want to have as a result to make it feel worthwhile, you know? And I think my answer deep down became, or it's becoming more and more, that yeah, in this world we got to make money. Yeah, we want to have status. Yeah, and we want success. Like, who the hell wakes up in the morning and be like, oh man, I just want everybody to not care about what I do, not listen to my music, and never be
Yeah.
booked, and never have a crowd to to vibe to, you know? Like, nobody wants to be like, yo, I pray to be poor and not be able to afford nothing from, you know, like, nobody. We all want to be able to see the fruit of our labor, and want to be able to thrive, and live a life that feels purposeful, you know? And I think that it's just truly my purpose, and I'm just trying to find my way in it that feels um more and more free, and more embodying of the channel that I should be to get this creation through me at the highest level. So I think it's going to be a lifelong relationship, whether it's out in the industry or not. For me, music is very personal, and it's a personal growth, it's a personal therapy. And it's I find it so important. I find it so important. And sometimes we get caught up thinking that we shouldn't continue, either whether because of age, or because of numbers, or because of status, or whatever think we really wanted to achieve and we didn't get to. So we're like, oh, what is it worth? You know, why? But I keep doing it because I keep hearing the calling. I know my spirit is here for that. And my voice needs to be heard. And that's truly what makes me vibrate the highest, you know? So I'm gonna try to follow that and keep true to that, and keep rocking with it. And whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the scene, whether it's for other artists or for myself, I love coaching, I love co-creating, I love doing all of that in that realm. As long as I get the opportunity to keep doing what I love in that, for me, that's worth continuing. It just might take different forms and different shapes and different avenues, but it will forever be part of me.
Well, I'm excited to be part of that journey and witnessing what you're going to be doing. And where can everyone find you on social medias and things like that, so they can follow your music?
So can we take a sec?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to like edit that part, my guy. I got mad emotional. Also because I think it's that period where we're a bit more emotional as females. But there is sorry. There was just this thing. I hate crying on camera, so I don't know how you're gonna cut it, but figure it out.
I'll make it work, don't worry.
Thank you. So people can find me on IG. That's where I'm mostly active, but I'm on all social media. I am on TikTok now. I'm starting to get there. And I'll be performing on June 24th to do my official actual release party of all my projects, because I've been out of Canada for 6 months and I have been back for a couple of months now. So I want to like have a proper event and with my live band and do it and live it up. And it's going to be on June 24th at a farm.
Okay.
Because that's one of my favorite places here. And it's going to be a very unique experience. And we're going to continue dropping more visuals for the album I just released on Sunday. So we got Game of Life EP out. We got Newt, my LP that just got released on Sunday, that's out. And hopefully a lot more shows coming out.
Well,
But right
I'm
now,
excited for sure.
yeah. And hopefully I get to see y'all in Ottawa too.
Yeah, for sure. You let me know when you're out here. I'll be there with bells on. Well, maybe not bells,
Hey!
but
Whistles?
I mean, I could probably do whistles. I could do
Okay,
whistles.
let's do whistles.
Well, it was definitely great getting to learn a bit more about you, your music, your journey, and I'm sure we're going to have another conversation again. I always like to catch up with people when I get the chance.
Sounds good.
I will we'll call it now, and hope you
Yes.
enjoy the rest of your day, and
Thank you.
I get to go back to doing more work too now.
Yeah, go edit
Mhm.
and try to avoid the scenes with me crying too much. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, have a good one.